من وطن الكرامة.
Hello, it is 9 p.m. Our time for top stories for today, and we start with latest developments and new items in Libya. Commander-in-Chief of the Arab Libyan Armed Forces, General Khalifa Haftar, said Benghazi has almost become free from terrorism and that the armed forces are working to defeat any terrorist elements in the outskirts of the city in order to purge this city completely. Haftar said during a press symposium held in Amman, Jordan, that the situation in the western region is very well at the political and military levels, and that the armed forces are removing the suffering of Sirte, pointing out that the source of terrorism is in Qatar, Turkey and Sudan. An armed forces soldier was murdered and 5 others wounded by clashes with terrorist militias in Leithis and Sabri district in Benghazi. A medical source said that Al-Gala hospital had received during the past 2 days the body of soldier Abdullah al-Migbari, adding that the hospital also received 5 wounded soldiers of the armed forces. Their injuries range from light to medium. The source also pointed out that 3 cases left the hospital after receiving first aid, while there are 2 other cases under medical observation. Terrorist Daesh group cut off communications in the eastern region after taking control of one of the most important communication centers in Sirte. For its parent company of both communications and information technology said in a statement that communication services in cities of the eastern region were disrupted starting from Sirte to Tobruk due to dropping the main dividers linking between cities of the western region and those of the eastern region passing by Sirte. The statement also stressed that the emergency team composed of all the telecom sector companies are working at these moments to repair the damage caused by this interruption. Terrorist Daesh group kidnapped 4 members of the Supreme Security Authority in Sirte City. Head of the Supreme Security Committee in Sirte, Ismail Abdelal, stressed that a group of Daesh terrorists yesterday raided a number of houses in the 2nd district of the city, kidnapping 4 members of the commission and taking them to an unknown destination. And about Boko Haram crisis, especially in Libya, electronic sites of terrorist Boko Haram group in Nigeria published pictures of world map in which the terrorist group identified the countries that the group seeks to strengthen, particularly the North African countries, which it called Rungeta. The pictures came after calls published by leaders of terrorist Daesh group to follow the group around the world to go all to Libya to fight within the ranks of the terrorist group against the Arab Libyan armed forces. UN envoy to Libya Bernardino Leon stressed that the Libyans are responsible for peacemaking process, calling on the Security Council not to provide any military assistance only after the formation of the new government. This came during the meeting of the Security Council that was held in Libya, during which permanent Libyan envoy to the United Nations Ibrahim al-Dabashi stressed that Libya is going through the most serious stage in its history and that there are countries which sponsor terrorism in Libya. The matter that requires the Security Council to take a decisive stand to stop the flow of aid of terrorism and lift the arms embargo imposed on Libya. This especially came after reports demonstrated the presence of multiple terrorist groups inside Libya, including Al-Qaeda and Daesh. Moreover, Dabashi accused the United Nations of ignoring the threat of the terrorism faced by Libya. Libya's ambassador to Turkey, Abdelrazak Mukhtar, stressed that the embassy received an official note from the Turkish Foreign Ministry saying visa should be imposed on the Libyans who wish to enter its territory starting from September 25. Mukhtar added that the issuance of visas would be by the Turkish consulate in Misrata or the Turkish embassy in Tunis, as the Turkish ambassador to Libya is processing his formal work in the capital, Tunis. He added that according to an understanding memorandum between the two countries in year 2009, the imposition of any new procedures can be applied after 30 days from its approval. On how to Egypt, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stressed the keenness of the Egyptian state to support and develop mutual relations with Russia that were demonstrated through fruitful cooperation during the recent period. This came during a press conference by the Egyptian president with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in the Kremlin. Al-Sisi added that cooperation with Russia has achieved in the past years significant progress in file of peaceful uses of atomic energy. For his part, Putin announced an agreement on launching a nuclear station in Egypt, posting means of economic cooperation between Moscow and Cairo, as well as establishing a Russian industrial zone in Suez Canal area and supplying Egypt of wheat. And now we transfer to the Arab area, especially Yemen. A woman and a child are said to be among the 3 fatalities after airstrikes at a home said to be used by local Houthi leaders. Witnesses say Saudi-led coalition airstrikes at a residential home located near military bases, killing 3, including a woman and a child. Residents say the house was being rented by 2 families and they think it was being used by local Houthi leaders. The Saudi-led coalition hopes to remove the Houthis from power in order to restore the government the Houthis had ousted. The Houthi TV channel also said their forces fired a ballistic missile toward Saudi Arabia, and residents in Sana'a report Saudi-led airstrikes on a presidential palace and military depot. Months of airstrikes have taken their toll on this nation area this summer. Human Rights Watch warned that the Saudi-led strikes were hitting markets and homes, killing dozens of civilians, and that they were possibly violating the law. A U.S. military statement said that the United States and its allies conducted 20 airstrikes against terrorist Daesh group in Iraq and Syria. In Iraq, extremist Daesh targets were hit in 18 strikes using various types of aircraft, including 7 near towards the statement, which was issued today, said. It added that 2 strikes were carried out in Syria using drones. In another development, a commander from the rebel Free Syrian Army died in a bomb attack on his car in the southern Turkish province of Hatay today, the privately owned Dogan news agency said. Dogan named the rebel leader as Jamil Radona, the commander of Suqur al-Ghab, one of several groups fighting under the Free Syrian Army FSA banner. Radona has survived a similar attack in Turkey in April. Turkey and the United States are working on plans for joint airstrikes in northern Syria in support of FSA rebels, part of an operation to push terror Daesh militants from a strip of territory running along the Turkish border. And finally, to Afghanistan, Taliban fighters seized a district headquarters in Afghanistan, Helmand province, despite repeated U.S. airstrikes to repel them, adding to the insurgents' recent advances in the opium farming region near a hydroelectric dam. Elsewhere in Helmand, 2 men in military uniforms opened fire in the former bridge base of Camp Bastion, killing 2 U.S. service personnel before being shot dead themselves. It was the second incident this year involving Afghan troops or people wearing Afghan uniforms shooting at foreign soldiers. No group has claimed the attack. Pentagon spokesman Captain Jeff Davis said the attackers were wearing Afghan uniforms and opened fire on the vehicle in which the Americans were traveling. In Afghanistan's first summer fighting season since foreign troops stepped back from combat roles, the Taliban have pushed into several districts in the north and south, but have mostly struggled to keep hold of them. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website www.watanalkarama.tv. Thanks very much for being with us. See you next time. I'm greeting رانيا البليدى.
تشاهدون اليوم